Hello, Eagles fans. I don't know about you, but I'm still celebrating that victory over the Cowboys. Week 1 already gave us a taste of what this season is going to be like, and I'm certain we're heading back to the Super Bowl. If you believe it too, write it loud. Go Eagles! We're going to the Super Bowl. Now, we need to talk about some key points from yesterday's game. Let's get into it because this win against the Dallas Cowboys was nothing short of championship level. The Eagles opened the night, raising their second Super Bowl banner in a sold-out Lincoln Financial Field with Jerry Jones himself in attendance, only to cap it off with a gritty 24-20 victory. Games like this define the DNA of a championship team. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't perfect, but the Eagles showed once again that when the moment calls, they find a way to win. Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, now 5-0 in season openers together, were at the center of it all. Hurts, who continues to silence every critic about his ability as a true dual-threat quarterback, was sensational. He finished the game 19 of 23, passing for 152 yards, while adding 62 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. But the stats only tell part of the story. What mattered most was how he used his decision-making, his progressions, and his legs to keep plays alive and ice the game when the pressure was on. Those jukes, that awareness, that leadership, it was vintage Hurts. He's now won 15 straight games he's started and finished. That's not just talent. That's the mentality of a winner. But this game wasn't without drama. The weather delay dragged both teams into the locker room for over an hour due to lightning in the area, disrupting momentum and changing the flow entirely. Before the delay, both offenses looked unstoppable, but once they returned, neither side could quite recapture the rhythm. Add in over 100 penalty yards by the Eagles, and you start to realize how impressive it really was that this team still came out on top. Now we need to talk about Jaylen Carter. His ejection for spitting on Dak Prescott created one of the biggest storylines of the night. NBC's broadcast revealed that Prescott spit first toward Carter, but retaliation like that was reckless, costly, and could have easily swung the outcome of the game. Without Carter, the defense wasn't the same, and that's something Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman, and Vic Fangio won't tolerate. Carter is immensely talented, already considered one of the best defensive players in the league, but emotional immaturity like that raises red flags, especially with contract eligibility looming. When teams are thinking about paying $30 to $40 million a year, they want to know their star is reliable, not volatile.
Carter has the potential to go down as one of the greatest Eagles defenders in history, but only if he keeps his emotions in check. The game also highlighted some concerning weaknesses. Adoree Jackson, lined up opposite Quinyon Mitchell, struggled badly. He was targeted repeatedly, committed penalties, and simply didn't look like a starting caliber outside corner on a team chasing another Super Bowl. The Cowboys exposed him, and unless changes are made, perhaps giving more snaps to rookie Jacorian Bennett, this secondary could be a real soft spot for opponents to attack. Still, there were bright spots across the roster. Rookie defenders Jair Campbell and Andrew Mukuba made their presence felt. Campbell showed his versatility, excelling in coverage and helping force a huge fumble that Quinyon Mitchell nearly turned into a scoop and score. Mukuba, meanwhile, lived up to his reputation for being around the football at all times. Both look like foundational pieces for Fangio's defense moving forward. Saquon Barkley also ran hard against the Dallas front committed to stopping him, finishing with 60 tough yards and a touchdown. He looked like the Barkley of last year, a vital sign for this offense moving forward. And how about Jake Elliott? Connecting from 58 yards out in a game this tight was enormous. He was only 1 for 7 from 50+ last year, so seeing him deliver in a clutch moment was a huge boost. Without that kick, Dallas might have had the chance to steal this one. Even with some play-calling concerns, like how A.J. Brown was targeted just once all night, the Eagles did what championship-caliber teams do. They found a way to win a one-possession game against a hated rival under tough circumstances. The offense may have graded out at a B-, the defense a solid B, but special teams earned an A and ultimately played a huge role in closing this game. And let's not forget, this wasn't just another win. For the first time since 1933, the Eagles' all-time franchise record is officially back at .500. That's 90 years in the making, and it's fitting that it came in a primetime victory over the Cowboys with the whole nation watching. Because the truth is, when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, this win wasn't just about beating Dallas, it was about proving that the Philadelphia Eagles can handle adversity in ways most teams simply can't. Think about everything that was thrown at them: the early injury to Ben Van Sumeren on special teams, the long lightning delay, the Carter ejection, over 100 penalty yards, and still they stood tall. That's not luck, that's resilience. That's the DNA of a contender. Let's talk more about the offensive side of the ball. Jahan Dotson stepping in and taking the top off the defense with that 51-yard reception was exactly what this unit needed. Even if A.J. Brown wasn't heavily involved, Dotson showed he can be a vertical threat that forces defenses to respect every blade of grass. Saquon Barkley was the workhorse, fighting for every inch against a defense stacking the box, and his touchdown run wasn't just physical, it was symbolic. He lowered his shoulder, refused to go down, and powered his way in. That's the energy this team feeds off of, and when Barkley looks like this, the Eagles are hard to beat. Now, let's give credit to the trenches, because while the run blocking wasn't perfect after Landon Dickerson went down, the pass protection was strong. Hurts was sacked only once, and that speaks volumes about how this offensive line adjusts even when shuffled mid-game. Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelce, this is the core of the team's identity, and they showed why they're still one of the league's best units. Defensively, even without Carter, you could see the flashes of dominance. Jordan Davis was disruptive, Nolan Smith made his presence known, even if the penalties were costly, and the young secondary pieces showed why Howie Roseman drafted them. Jair Campbell looked like a veteran, not a rookie, when he broke up that same pass and later helped force the fumble. Andrew Mukuba played with instincts that can't be coached. These guys are green now, but by midseason, they could transform this defense into something special. And how about Quinyon Mitchell? If Dak Prescott doesn't make that touchdown-saving tackle, we might be talking about one of the highlight reel plays of the season already. Mitchell has that knack for being in the right place at the right time, and that's something you just can't teach. You need playmakers in the secondary to survive in today's NFL, and Mitchell is already stepping into that role. Special teams was another storyline that can't be overlooked. Jake Elliott drilling that 58-yarder was the difference between a nail-biting finish and a possible collapse. Those are the kinds of kicks that win championships, because when the margin for error shrinks in January and February, you need a kicker who can deliver under the lights. Elliott proved he's that guy. Let's circle back to Hurts for a second. What stood out most wasn't just his stat line, it was his poise. At halftime, after everything the team had gone through, he came out surgical, finishing the first half with 93 passing yards, 48 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and a rating of 101.9. He's not just playing the quarterback position, he's controlling games. He looks like a player who has taken yet another step in his evolution, one who can put the team on his back when the moment demands it. That shrug after his first touchdown, that was more than a celebration, it was a statement. And the fact that Michael Jordan was there, believed to be Hurts' guest, only adds to the sense that Hurts is becoming one of the league's biggest stars both on and off the field. Now here's the kicker, pun intended, this win doesn't just give the Eagles confidence, it gives them breathing room. If they had lost to Dallas, they'd be staring down the Kansas City Chiefs next week with the threat of starting 0-2. Instead, they enter that Super Bowl rematch 1-0 with momentum